Hi everyone, Jill here from Point Reyes, and I'm so excited to have Maneet Chauhan with us as our special guest celebrating Women's History Month. And Maneet, hello, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me on, Jill. This is it's going to be such a fun conversation, and I'm in awe of what you guys do. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, it's not for the faint of heart, just like being a chef, right? You
You know
gotta
what?
love
No
what
pain,
you
no gains.
do. Well, let's just get started. Why don't you talk a little bit about your rise up through the culinary ranks and how maybe some women have inspired you in this journey you've taken.
It's so amazing if you think about it. Wherever you are in life is it's a combination of your entire life's work, and it is each and every person who has supported you. I grew up in this really small town in India, and in India, women. It was still a time when there were not a lot of women who were working in the workforce.
Mhm.
It was a small community. Most of the women were stay at home moms. My mom was one of the very few women who was actually working. And to me, growing up in that environment, I kind of assumed that this is what my future is. It was never, ever a thought that I would never be working. My grandmom, she had a business of her own. So it started off with women in my family, from my aunts who were dynamic and businesses of their own, to the teachers who we had, who never for a moment ever differentiated in the fact that, oh, you're a girl, you can do this, you're a boy, you can do this, or you're a girl, you can't do this. The sky was the limit for us.
Mhm.
Then when I decided to be a chef, in a community where kids were studying to be doctors and engineers, here I wanted to be a chef. And people took a pause. They're like, why would you want to do something? And my parents always said that do whatever you want, just make sure that you're the best at it. And
Mhm.
that's the mantra that I have lived by. It was an interesting journey. When I did my undergrad in India, I was working in kitchens, the only girl in a kitchen of around 70 to 80 men. And I do think that we should take a moment not only to acknowledge the absolutely incredible women who inspired us to do what we are doing, but the men who stood along with those women and said that yes, this is normal, this is warranted. Like my
Mhm.
dad, for example, right? Like he's like, yeah, why not?
Mhm.
If I can do it, if any of these boys can do it, why can't you? And they
Mhm.
challenge you. My teachers in schools, at undergrad, even when I came here to do my, I went to the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America. The instructors over there, everybody was, there was always that conversation. You don't see many women in the kitchen, you don't see many women in the kitchen. And they would turn to us and say, well, you go ahead and you change that. So it's just been a combination, from family, from my sister, to just inspirational women in the industry, right? They have been women chefs who have broken the barriers. They have been CEOs of companies from whom I'm constantly, like this morning I was listening to a talk by Indra Nui, who was, the CEO of PepsiCo. And her entire conversation was so honest about how, as a woman, you go ahead and try your level best to balance family and work. And there is
Mhm.
that constant guilt that you live with, and that's what it is. You live with that guilt, but then there are these coping mechanisms on how you do that. But then you also teach the next generation that, hey, you really don't need to have that guilt hanging right over you. You are as much you as much belong to this space as anybody else. So I think that is
Absolutely.
our responsibility, and I think we are at a very crucial junction where we can bridge that gap, right? I
Mhm.
mean, listen, we are going to live with the guilt. At least I am going to live. that guilt. I have like kind of embraced it and accepted it. But I am going to make sure that the next generation doesn't carry that guilt forward.
Oh, well, bravo to you, because I know that there is often an old adage, especially in the kitchen, that, well, I had to, sit and, peel shallots for days on end. So you're going to have to do the same thing. You're going to have to work the 12-hour shifts and the holidays and the weekends, because I did. And, I love to see that there are people, and women specifically, breaking the cycle, as well as, teaching our children, being role models, that you can do it all in quotes, if you integrate it carefully and you're very thoughtful with your time and your resources, and trying to eliminate being your worst critic and feeling that guilt all the time, right?
That is so true. All
Mm-hmm.
the time. I mean, that is something that I struggle with. And I do think that the struggles are what make us stronger, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we did not have struggles, we wouldn't be as strong as we are. So
And we
I
wouldn't
I have,
appreciate the wins, that's for
yes,
sure, right?
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think that we as we as human beings, we thrive under that pressure of the impossible and how we overcome it. And I think that's what makes it so makes it very special.
Absolutely. So let's get back a little bit in your history here. I'm just wondering, what was behind the decision to pursue culinary as your career path?
One of the simplest questions you could ask me. It's my love for eating. I love
Ah, I love
food.
it.
I love food. And I used to always eat something and I would be like, oh, if I was cooking, I would do this. I was cooking, I would do this. I'm like, hey, why don't I just cook and do it?
Uh-huh.
So I do think that was a decision. But in all honesty, I do also think that the number of people who told me that a woman's place is not in the kitchen, in the professional kitchen, also kind of lit a fire in my
Oh,
backside that
you
I'll
were
show you.
emboldened. I love it.
Like, I'll show you. Really? Okay.
Is that why you decided to pursue the additional path of competitive cooking,
You
to
don't
prove
not,
people
not
wrong that you were the best?
yeah, well, you know what? I know facts. I just want to show people, the truth. I'm just
Uh-huh.
kidding. You know what? There is. I do think as women, and I don't know if you would agree with me. I do feel that as women, we are constantly pushing ourselves to prove something to the world, right? We are trying to
Again,
prove
we
to the
are our
world.
worst critics, right?
Yes, we are, right? We are trying to prove to the world that, hey, yes, we are strong. Hey, yes, we are doing that. And maybe that's why I got into competitions, because I wanted to prove that, hey, yes, I can take the heat. I can stand in front of all of you and be as good as you, if not better than all of you.
Well, you've certainly proved everyone, including yourself, that you could do it. Tournament of Champions, female winner. I mean, let's talk
I
about
mean,
that.
think about it. 4 years of Tournament of Champions, all four women winners. And think about it. It's blind tasting.
Yeah,
So the judges have no idea whose food they are tasting. None whatsoever. Right? But that's what it's all about.
I can't help but wonder, though, does that just show that in other competitions, competitive environments, there is a bias, knowing what chef is bringing that dish to the judges' table?
I always think that there is always a bias in life, right? It doesn't need to be a conscious bias. It could be a completely subconscious bias, but it
Mhm.
does sneak in. It does. There is. I mean, we've spent so many years on, under the sun, and that we, as human beings, it's very natural to have bias, right? Even though you might not acknowledge it to yourself, you might not have a conversation about it, but it is there.
Well, but again, you're proving everyone on a global stage that you have the chops. So bravo to you.
Thank
Um,
you.
so what do you tell, young women that are, you're hiring, you're bringing into your kitchens, they probably, look at you very aspirationally, what's the best advice you can give them for getting started?
So the best advice that I can give, women or anybody who's starting is that you have the answer, right? There's so many times that people are like, oh my God, this is a problem. What is the answer? It's in your mind. All you have to do is just take a step back and analyze the situation. It's even with my daughter. Every day that I drop her to school, I turn to her and I tell her, there are no problems, only solutions, right? And if you
Mhm.
start thinking on those lines, you will come up with a solution. The creativity is all over here. The fact that you've decided that you want to be a chef or in the restaurant business or whatever you want to pursue, you've already made that decision. The answers are already over here. There are people all around who are going to guide you. But in the end of the day, the answer lies in you. And have enough faith in yourself to believe those answers. And I think,
Mhm.
and it comes back to exactly what you were saying, that we spend so much time underestimating ourselves, so much time second guessing ourselves, right? And
Mhm.
there are times that I've given talks to all of these, young women and girls who are aspiring to be the leaders, right? That we as women spend a lot of time having a question mark in our mind. Can we do this,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Can I, if I get this job, can I do it, right? Men,
Mhm.
on the other hand, would not have any idea about that job. They'll walk in and they're like, of course I can do it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
We as women need to hang on to those two words. Can we, question mark, and just switch it to we can.
Mhm. Love it.
Of course
Mhm.
we can.
Mhm.
Of course we can. What's the
Mhm.
worst that'll happen, right? You'll
Mhm.
make a mistake.
You learn from it.
Everybody makes a mistake. Get
Mhm.
up,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
dust yourself off, go ahead, do it all over again. It is
Mhm.
the resilience, it's the tenacity. Don't be afraid of failure. Failure is such an integral part of your growth. It's very important for your growth. So don't do anything because you're afraid to fail, you
Mhm.
know?
I love it.
Embrace that failure, learn from it.
I love it. And if I could add one thing to the we can theory or mantra, it is do it without apology. As women, why are we always apologizing, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. Oh, is it okay if I speak up?" Or, it's just you don't get that, coming from men on the rise, in their career path. But women constantly are doing that. So I love that. We can without apology. I can.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Mhm.
absolutely.
Absolutely. And what a great message for our daughters. Living by
Yeah,
example. I love it.
I know that my daughter won't be listening to me because you don't listen to mom,
No,
but I'm
but she
hoping
might
that
listen to
somebody's
me and
daughter
my
is.
daughter will listen to you. So
Exactly. See, and I think that is such an important part about being women, is the fact that we need to create a community that supports each other,
yep,
right? it
100%.
cannot it cannot be a community which is tearing each other down, because
Mm-hmm.
you yourself, everybody is going through the same struggle. So be there
Mm-hmm.
to help each other, be there to applaud the other person's success. And that's how we are going to be stronger. That's how we are going to get this entire thing of, oh, I'm sorry for being successful, oh, I'm sorry for doing this, oh, I'm sorry for doing that out of our vocabulary.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why we're doing this little podcast series for Women's Month. It's so that we can help lift other women businesses up, and feel that also in return, because there's nothing more powerful than women supporting other women that are on that rise and on that similar journey of trying to balance a successful professional career, a success at home personally, and at the same time building that network, that community that you refer to. So it's so powerful. Again, another great example for the young listening to this today.
But I've got to tell you, in the part of world that you guys live in, I have never found a group of women. I mean, chefs, especially for me, who are as supportive and as incredible as, like, whenever I'm in Healdsburg,
Mhm.
be it I mean, like, just the chefs, all the women chefs over there, and there are a lot of women chefs. We get together and we just sit and we talk and we laugh and we just, like, encourage each other on. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm jealous of where you live, just saying that.
We are. It's not just because of the bounty what grows in our region, but it's the people that kind of create the magic in the kitchen and present these wonderful, representations of, me being a producer of the hard work that my team puts into our cheese, but then to see Tracy Shipos and Dusky Estes, I know exactly who you're referring to. Some examples of some of these women that then, spin this wonderful, recipe that is just like the best representation of what Northern California has to offer. So yes, we're very lucky living where we do. Maneet, last question. What's your legacy? If you could write it out today, I know this is many decades in the future, but what do you want to leave behind?
Somebody had said that people will not remember much of what you said. They will remember how you made them feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is very important. To me, when I walk into a new environment, I meet somebody for the first time, you have no idea what struggles they are going through. You have no idea what stories they have. You have no idea what baggage they are carrying. And you do not have the right to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If each and every person is more empathetic about the other person in front of them, what does it take to smile at a person? What does it take to just acknowledge a person? What does it take to just go ahead and ask somebody how they are doing? Right?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't cost
Kindness.
anything.
Kindness, you're right. Like the world needs more kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Just be gracious enough to be kinder to people. That's all. Like to me, I mean, I don't like, I would, I do so much, because I have a problem of saying yes, right? I do so much, but in the end of the day, I don't want people to remember me for my restaurants or my dishes. I just want them to remember me that this was a good human being. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Well, the beauty of what you do and the platform that you have such a wide reach, and that even if someone's just cooking one of your recipes or visits one of your restaurants when you're not there, the food that you initiated, that you created, will also make them feel that way. So you're in a very special position,
I can hope. I
yeah,
can hope.
exactly. What's next for you, by the way? Where can we see you? Where can we find you?
Well, right now on Food Network, TOC 5 is going on. So,
Mhm.
follow along with me, see how far I make it.
Yes.
We also have just opened a restaurant, a QSR, a fast casual concept in Disney Springs, Orlando,
Uh-huh.
which we are really excited about. And then who
That's the
knows?
eat, correct?
Yes, eat.
Eat. I love
It's
it. I
the
love the
eat
name.
from Maneet. Yes.
Fantastic. Well, we will look for you. We will root for you on
Phew.
season 5 of Tournament of Champions. And I'm just so happy that you could spend a little bit of time with us. I know that you're filming as we speak right behind you. So we're going to let you go. And I can't wait to see you again at Healdsburg Wine and Food Experience. The third weekend in May up here in Northern California. And I love that we got to know each other better. So thanks so much.
Same here, and I can't wait to hang out with you. It's gonna be so
Yes,
much
come eat some
fun.
cheese and come to
Yes.
the farm. Come see us in person.
Ooh, that's a great idea. I will
Yes,
take you up on that. That would be
I love
amazing. I
it.
would love that.
Open invitation.
Ah,
Okay.
be so careful.
Thank you, Maneet. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.